Have you ever found yourself staring out the window, thinking about a moment that happened years ago, and wondering what life might have looked like if you'd made a different choice? Maybe it was something you said in anger, or something you didn't say at all. A missed chance, a road not taken. Sometimes it creeps in late at night when the house is quiet and the lights are low. That little voice whispering, if only. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. And you're definitely not broken. Regret is part of being human. It's something most of us carry in some form or another. But here's the thing. After 70, those regrets can start to weigh heavier than ever. The years behind us seem longer than what's ahead, and that voice of what could have been can grow louder. But just because regret knocks on your door doesn't mean you have to invite it in and let it stay forever. The truth is, we can let go. We can move forward. And it doesn't require grand gestures or erasing the past. It just takes a few small shifts in how we think, feel, and treat ourselves. Today, I want to share with you 4 healthy, compassionate ways to deal with regret, especially after 70. These aren't quick fixes or just think positive slogans. These are gentle, powerful tools that can help you stop carrying the weight of yesterday so you can walk lighter into tomorrow. So, let's begin with something that might surprise you. Not all regrets are bad. Sometimes, regret is trying to teach us something. It's easy to look back at a past decision and feel nothing but shame or sorrow. But what if, instead of judging ourselves, we treated regret like a wise friend tapping us on the shoulder? Maybe it's showing us something we valued deeply, a relationship we wanted to save, a path we didn't take because we were afraid or unsure. That feeling you carry, yes, even the heavy one, means you cared. That matters. So the first step? We give ourselves permission to feel it. Not to get stuck in it, but to honor it. Sit with it, like you would with a guest. You can even say it out loud if it helps. Yes, I feel regret about this, and that's okay. That means it mattered to me. You'd be amazed how much power there is in simply acknowledging your feelings instead of trying to push them away. They soften. They settle. The second step is to ask a question that almost no one thinks to ask. What did I learn from that? Maybe you regret not telling someone how much you love them, or staying in a job too long, or walking away too soon. Whatever it is, buried inside that regret is usually a lesson that shaped who you are now. So instead of replaying what you didn't do, ask yourself what it taught you. You may find that it gave you strength, or clarity, or compassion. Maybe you didn't make that mistake again, and that matters. Maybe you taught your children or grandchildren something wiser because of it. Regret, when we meet it gently, can actually become wisdom. And that wisdom? That's a gift you still carry. Now, none of this means we pretend everything is fine. We're not sugarcoating here. Regret can hurt. It can ache in the chest, especially when it's tied to people we've lost or moments we know won't come back. But if you're still here, if you're still breathing, that means you still have something powerful, the ability to choose what you do with today. And this brings us to something very simple but very real, what I call compassionate self-talk. Have you noticed how we speak to ourselves in a way we'd never speak to a friend? Imagine someone you love telling you, I wish I'd said goodbye differently, or I regret not chasing that dream. Would you tell them, well, too bad. You blew it? Of course not. You'd probably say something like, you did the best you could with what you knew then, or that was a hard time and you were doing your best. That's kindness. That's compassion. And that's exactly what you deserve too. So try this next time you catch your thoughts drifting to the past in a painful way. Gently remind yourself, I made the best choice I could at the time. I didn't know then what I know now. Say it as many times as you need. Out loud if possible. These aren't empty affirmations. They're truths we tend to forget. This kind of self-talk isn't about denial. It's about healing. And healing starts with how we treat ourselves when no one else is watching. Now that we've looked at how to honor regret, learn from it, and speak to ourselves with kindness, let's move into something else that truly transforms how we carry the past. Because once we've started being honest with ourselves, and once we stop beating ourselves up for being human, we open the door to something deeply freeing: acceptance. And that's not a word to brush past. Acceptance doesn't mean we approve of what happened or pretend it didn't hurt. It means we've stopped fighting with the past. We've stopped picking up the same old memory, turning it over in our hands, and asking it to be different. That's the third healthy way to deal with regret: learning how to practice real acceptance, not just in our minds, but in our hearts. Have you ever found yourself replaying the same scene over and over? A conversation that didn't go the way you wanted? A choice you made that, looking back, you'd do differently? That's your heart still tangled in the past. And the way through that tangle isn't forcing yourself to forget it. It's learning how to say, yes, that happened, and I can still live a beautiful life today. It might help to think about it like this. Imagine holding a pebble in your hand. That pebble represents your regret. You can keep squeezing it, trying to make it disappear, but all that happens is your hand starts to hurt. Your arm gets tired. You start to feel weighed down. But if you just open your hand and let it sit there, you'll notice it's lighter than you thought. It doesn't control you anymore. It's just part of your story. That's what acceptance can feel like: a release of tension, a deep breath after holding one for too long. And you can begin practicing it right now, with something as simple as your breath. Next time that old regret creeps up on you, maybe in the quiet of evening or during a walk alone, try placing a hand over your heart, taking a deep breath in, and saying softly to yourself, I accept what was. I'm here now, and I choose to be at peace. Do it even if you don't fully believe it yet. That's okay. You're building a habit. And like anything else, the more we practice, the more natural it becomes. Now, let's talk about the fourth and final way to truly move forward. And this one might just be the most powerful. It's the idea that you can still make meaning from what's behind you, that your life isn't defined by the mistake or the missed moment, but by what you do with it now. You might not be able to go back and fix something from 20 years ago, but you can write a letter to the person you wish you'd forgiven or apologized to. You can have that conversation, even if it's just with yourself. And yes, sometimes even talking out loud to someone who's no longer here can be healing. But more than that, you can use your regret to help someone else. Maybe there's a friend, a neighbor, a grandchild who's walking toward the same fork in the road you once stood at. Imagine what it would mean to share your story, not as a lecture, but as a lantern. You have wisdom now. Real, lived-in, hard-earned wisdom. And it's worth more than any book or class, because it came from your life. You can turn regret into legacy. It might mean picking up the phone and making peace with someone you've drifted from, or volunteering, mentoring, listening. There are people who need what you've been through, what you've learned, even the painful stuff, maybe especially the painful stuff. And here's the beautiful part. When you give meaning to your past, you change how it lives in you. It stops being a wound and becomes a story you carry with strength. A scar, maybe, but one you're proud of. You might be thinking, it's too late for that. But it's not. Not while you're here. Not while you can speak, reflect, love. There's something quiet and extraordinary about a person who has known regret, accepted it, and still chooses to give. Still chooses to forgive. Still chooses to show up. That person? That can be you. You are not your worst decision. You are not the goodbye you never said. You are not the missed opportunity or the words you wish you'd spoken. You are who you are today. And today, you can choose to turn that regret into a reminder of how deeply you've lived and how deeply you still can. So take a breath, give yourself a little grace, and remember, nothing is wasted when you're willing to grow from it. And now here you are, still here, still breathing, still capable of creating peace, even with the past behind you. That in itself is something to be proud of. So often we look back and think, I should have done better, or I should have known more. But let's be honest, none of us are born knowing how to do everything right. We learn as we go, and sometimes we learn the hardest lessons later than we would have liked. That doesn't make you a failure. That makes you human. One of the most freeing things you can realize after 70 is this. The point of life is not perfection. It's participation. It's showing up, trying, stumbling, forgiving, trying again. That includes forgiving others, yes, but just as importantly, it means forgiving yourself. Let's sit with that for a moment. Forgiving yourself. You might think forgiveness is a grand gesture, a dramatic turning point, but often, it's far quieter than that. It's in the moment you stop punishing yourself for something you can't undo. It's in the breath you take when you finally stop asking, "Why did I?" and start saying, "I did, and I'm learning from it." Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It means loosening the grip of blame and guilt. It means saying, that version of me was doing the best they could, with what they had and where they were. If you need permission to forgive yourself, let this be it. You've carried enough. You deserve to set it down. And once you do, you'll find there's more room. For joy, for connection, for the simple beauty of being. Because regret, when left unresolved, has a way of taking up space in our hearts that could be filled with something lighter. One of the most healing things we can do is allow ourselves to find joy again, not as a way to ignore the past, but as a way to honor what we've survived. Think of it like tending a garden. Some parts of your past may be tangled or overgrown, but with care, you can still plant new things: kindness, laughter, purpose. And those things grow, no matter how late in the season it may feel. You might find it in simple moments: sharing a meal with someone who listens, watching a grandchild discover something new, sitting outside and feeling the breeze on your skin. Those aren't just little joys, they are life itself, reminding you that you're not done living it. You have a say in how this next chapter unfolds. That's what all of this comes down to. Regret tells us we've already missed our chance. But the truth is, every day you wake up is a new chance. Not to rewrite the past, but to write something meaningful with what you've learned. So maybe today, you write a letter you've been afraid to send, even if you never mail it. Maybe you take that walk you keep postponing, call someone you've lost touch with, or simply make yourself a cup of tea and sit in the quiet without judgment. You don't need to do everything at once. Just take one kind, brave step toward peace. That's how we move forward. Not by rushing, not by erasing what was, but by walking gently toward what can be. And as you take those steps, know this: you're not alone. There are countless others who carry regrets. But there are also countless others who, like you, are choosing to soften their grip. To stop letting regret be the narrator of their story, and instead, reclaim their voice. You're part of that community now. You're choosing healing. And that choice matters more than you know. If anything you've heard today has spoken to you, if even a small part of it feels like something your heart needed to hear, then take that as your sign. A sign that it's not too late. A sign that you can find peace. That your life is still unfolding. That your story isn't finished yet. Remember, it's not about forgetting the past. It's about freeing yourself from being defined by it. And you? You are so much more than your regrets. You are wisdom. You are strength. You are grace in motion. Thank you for spending this time with me. If this message meant something to you, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Let's create a space of understanding and support, because none of us should have to walk through healing alone. If you found this helpful, go ahead and like this video and subscribe for more uplifting and meaningful conversations. This community is here for you. And no matter what yesterday looked like, today is yours. So here's to living your best life at any age. Here's to you.